Hi guys, Evan from Atlantic Outboard here. Welcome to our digital delivery on this new 2022 Pursuit DC246. Today I'm going to walk you through this model, give you all the inside and outlook at it, and it's a really exciting time because this is a brand new model for Pursuit. It replaced the DC235. They've made some really awesome enhancements, totally transformed the boat, and I'm excited to walk you through it. Let's first talk about the transom area. This boat comes standard with a 300 Yamaha 4-stroke in white, as you can see here. A couple cool things that are upgrades from the DC old 235 is we have some more storage back here. So in the port side, we have a storage bin right here with a drain that goes overboard. That's really awesome for like a stern anchor, some lines, whatever you want really. But the Pursuit really did a nice job of taking advantage of some of the space back here. If you notice too, these hull extensions are almost double as wide as what they were on the 235. So really nice for if you're at the sandbar or at the island or just jumping around on and off the water. Really cool feature right there as well. They have a lid that goes right here in front of the motor, so it protects you from all the rigging tubes and hoses. Makes, you know, boarding, getting on the boat, walking around the engine super easy. On the starboard side of the swim platform, again, nice open wide space right here. There's your boarding door with a nice handle right here. One thing I wanted to point out though is the boarding ladder. Okay, so how that works with this Garlic ladder is you pull this pin right here, pulls up, and this whole thing slides out, comes down, locks into place, and then the right side folds out and then the left side folds out. Okay, the benefit to this is if you jump in the water while you're swimming and you forget to put the ladder out, you can access it easy from the water itself, versus a lot of manufacturers have their ladders built up here that fold out. Very difficult to access those once you're already in the water. All right, so when you're done, you flip it up like so. Then we're gonna slide it up like that. And boom, easy going. This boat's equipped with underwater light option. It comes standard with the trim tabs. Let's hop in the cockpit and check some more things out. Okay, cockpit area on the DC246. We have a really awesome fish box / cooler right here. Okay, it's insulated, it drains overboard. Really good access. This is another enhancement from the DC235. This is similar to the DC266, okay? The big brother to this boat, where you have the Livewell off to the port side. We have a huge insulated fish box, like I said, and/or cooler right here as well, okay? We have our ski tow that locks in right here when in use, but it's stored somewhere else, which I'm gonna show you in a minute. This boat has a standard seat right here, and this boat, our stock boat here, is equipped with the optional port side cockpit seat as well. So how these seats work is you give it a pull out, put your hand on the back side, lift up, and you can see when I did that, the backrest comes up a little bit, really good for lumbar support. Same thing over here, when I pull it out, I put my hand on the back side, pull it out, boom, nice easy access. Really comfortable, you can fit several people on here, really awesome layout. Okay, on the mechanical space in the bilge on the DC246, as you can see that red and white pump to the port side over, that's our raw water and live well pump. The hose that goes backwards and up goes into the live well. Going forward into this pump right here is our washdown pump. Everything's labeled, super easy to use. Our spin-on fuel filter canister for the Yamaha is also on the port side, which you can see. We have our 2 batteries obviously in here as well, so we have an engine battery and a house battery. And now underneath this compartment right here, that's our fuel tank. So you can see a poly fuel tank. We have our fuel fill that comes in from the outside, so where we fill it up on the side of the boat, it dumps in from right here. So our fuel fill's on the port side, comes in into the tank that way. Here is our fuel line that goes from the tank to the motor. If there was ever a reason you needed to shut that fuel off, you simply go like that right there. Easy to do so. And off to the starboard side right here, we have our sending unit. That is what measures the fuel in the tank and displays it on your Yamaha fuel gauge. The port side seating arrangement, okay, we have a really awesome feature on this model, which is another huge enhancement from the 235, is that this whole seat slides out. Simply take your hand, lift up a little bit, and it locks in place right there. It turns out into a nice big lounge seat, okay? When you don't want to use it, you just do the opposite. Lift up again, slide it in, it locks in place, okay? Really awesome. Our fuel fill is on the port side right here to our 118-gallon fuel tank. All right, want to make note of that. Underneath the 2 seats right here, we have a nice big slide-out drawer, which is great for safety equipment, flares, maybe fire extinguisher, things like that, or your registration. So really cool design there. On the starboard side, we have our optional entertainment center right here. Okay, so we have a nice Corian countertop with a flip-out sink right here with a drain that goes overboard. Okay, freshwater sink, and we also have a Yeti cooler that comes with this package as well. Okay, on the Helm area on the 246, we have our optional Garmin package here, which comes with an 8612 XSV with a VHF radio, and it comes with obviously the through-hole transducer. All right, we have our CL5 Yamaha gauge, and we also have our JL Audio music sound system here as well. Okay, all of our switches are right here. We have our horn, nav, and anchor light. Obviously, nav is the red and green. Anchor light's what's up on top. Cockpit lights, I'm not sure if you can see them on the floor here, but they are the white lights that kind of illuminate the floor when you're using it. Really nice at night or dusk when you don't want to blind yourself from driving, but you want to light up the deck as well. We have our hard top lights, which are up ahead here. So we have 3 colors. They're red, they're white, and they're blue. Pro tip here, if the lights ever become out of sync on any Pursuit model, if you, like for example, one's red, one's blue, and the other one's white for some reason, just get out of sync. If you hold that button for 5 seconds, it resets them and puts them all back in the same sequence. We have our spreader light here button, so we have a light in the back, and we also have a light in the front. All right, so 3 settings on that switch to utilize whichever one you want. We have our windshield wiper and our windshield washer, so that hooks up to our fresh water tank. So if you get some salt spray on there or something like that, you want to rinse it off, you hit that. Mid-level light, there's blue LED lights that are a little bit higher than the white LED lights that are predominantly up in the bow, but we also have a couple out in the cockpit as well. Optional underwater lights, we talked about those that this boat has. That's the switch right there for it. Accessory switch, so if we ever added something down the road that you wanted to put power to, an example that may be a spotlight or something, we could power it to right there. Aft bilge, the bilge pump, just like all the other Pursuits, are hardwired to the battery, and they have a float switch, meaning that even with the batteries off, they will still work. They being the bilge pump will still work. If you want to do a manual override, you could do so by hitting that button right there. We have our freshwater switch right there, which uses the freshwater sink or the toilet or the freshwater shower. If you want to utilize one of those, you have to have that freshwater switch on. We have our wash down switch on. Again, that's going to do your raw water wash down. So if you're fishing and you want to rinse off some blood that you got on the boat from a fish you caught, you simply hit that button, put the hose on it, and that'll use whatever body of water you're in, will rinse off on the deck. Livewell is the last button on here that we're going to talk about. The Livewell is obviously the power to have that Livewell circulating water. We have our steering wheel right here, which has a tilt mechanism, which is standard. Okay, so several different areas you can pick that you want your steering wheel to turn to. With the Yamaha Hellmaster EX control box, which is upgraded for 2022 model year, we have a push button system with a key fob for the Yamaha. So we have a power button, which puts power to the motor, and then we have a start-stop button as well. Right below that, we have our trim tab with indicator lights. That levels the boat left to right. And off to the starboard side, we have a USB plug and a 12-volt plug as well. DC246 Helm chair is the best Helm chair in its class. We have 2 folding armrests on this chair, as well as the flip-up bolster seat as well. So if you want to lean or sit a little bit higher, you could do that. What I love about this chair is it can spin fully around. So if you're socializing and you're not driving the boat and you want to talk with people in the cockpit, you can easily do so. Really nice Helm chair. Like I said, hands down, best in class. Another best-in-class feature on the DC246 is their huge head compartment. As you can see, we have Korean accents with wood accents as well in here, which make it aesthetically pleasing, yet super functional. We have a freshwater sink in there, as well as a freshwater head with a holding tank. We have our controls for that right there, as well as an enclosed toilet paper holder as well. Our fire extinguishers mounted in here all the time for safety concerns, but really great storage right here on the door itself. Pretty good headroom for a boat of this size. Obviously, we have a light in there. Awesome, awesome design on this model. Behind the helm on the DC246, we have great storage. Okay, we have, if you can see in there, we have our leg for our bow filler set. Okay, what's nice about that is it's always stored, always has somewhere to be. You can see the 2 pieces in there, so where I'm standing, this whole thing turns into a giant sunbed. Okay, and the benefit to that is it stores right in there out of the way. But we also have some great storage in that compartment as well, even if you're not going to use the bow filler seat. Another really cool feature we have is the battery switch panel right here. Okay, the benefit to this panel is it's enclosed, super easy to get to. We have our windless breaker in there, our cockpit amp breaker, head breaker, freshwater breaker. Every breaker on this model, okay, is right there. Easy access, easy labeled, super easy to get to. Really, really awesome that they put it right here in a nice convenient spot. In true dual console characteristic style, we have the divider door right here, which adds additional wind and protection from you from the elements as well when you're sitting back here. This model also has a magnet that holds the center window in place, which is really nice. So when you're cruising and you want some more protection, we can throw that up right there. When you have the windscreen up as well, which is isinglass, which zips into this track right here, it slides in this track right here, you're really protected and allows you to extend your season in the spring when it's nice and cool up here in New England, or even the fall when the temps get chilly as well. The bow area on the DC246 is another feature I think that's best in class in all the dual consoles out on the market. We have folding armrests right here on the port and starboard side. We also have on the port side here a 12-volt plug, which is great for charging your phones or whatever. Cup holders, okay, lighting. What I like too also is right here we have some storage space right here, so if you want to put your phone or your wallet or something like that, some sunscreen perhaps, good access, good storage both sides as well. Underneath where I'm sitting and on the starboard side, we have large insulated boxes, which could be a cooler, they could be a storage, whatever you want. If you notice too, they are gasketed, okay, so they're going to stay dry in any sort of, if you're rinsing the boat or rain or anything like that. Okay guys, bow area all the way up here with the windlass and new bow ladder option on this model, which is really nice, okay? Pretty easy to use too. You just simply fold it out, remove the bungee cord right there, and it slides out as well. So that's really awesome for all you guys that rock it out on sandbars or just want to get on and off the boat that way. Really cool design, awesome layout from Pursuit. We have our windlass right here. What's really nice though, okay, is we have a freshwater rinse for the windlass up here as well. So when you buy a Pursuit, you get the special quick connect hose that locks in there, and you can rinse off your windlass right from there. Two important things I want to point out up here. Number one is the waste pump out point is right here, and additionally the freshwater fill is right here. Okay, so a little not in the normal spots I guess you could say, but they're up here, they're labeled, so there's no way you can mix them up. All right, so the waste is on the port side, water's on the starboard side. One other thing I want to talk about here is our windlass control. Okay, so you can control the windlass from up here, up and down, pretty self-explanatory, but that's how that works up here. When you're done using all this stuff, this folds over, locks in place. You have a nice smooth spot up here for whatever you want to do. The last thing I want to talk about in our digital delivery today is some of the maintenance and things we got to talk about on the 300 Yamaha. All right, number one, break-in period. For the first 10 hours of use, you have to vary the throttle speed every 5 minutes. Now what that means is you can't go cruising for 4 hours at 3,500 RPM, for example, okay? What Yamaha wants you to do to break in the motor is after 5 minutes of runtime, at a consistent runtime, they want you to bump up the RPMs up or down a certain amount. It doesn't matter the amount, just make sure you move them, okay? So an example, if you're cruising and you're doing, I don't know, 4,000 RPM, after 5 minutes, bump it up to 4,200 RPM or bump it down to 3,500 RPM. Like I said, doesn't matter what the RPM difference is as long as there's an RPM change, okay? After 10 hours of use, you run the motor however you want, okay? At 20 hours, that's when we do your 20-hour check. We recommend, as well as Yamaha, you do a gear oil change, you do an engine oil change, and you do an engine oil filter change as well. After that, you're good for the next 100 hours. Now, up here in New England, a lot of our guys don't put 100 hours on their boat a year, okay? So what we do is at the end of the season, as part of your winterizing process, we change your oil. That way, come springtime, you're good for the next 100 hours, and you don't have to stop midway through the season to do some maintenance that'll be a time killer for you. Another thing I want to point out on the 300 Yamaha is the flushing technique. We strongly recommend after every use you flush out the engine and for these saltwater guys that are using the boats, all right? How you do that is on the port side of the motor, you counterclockwise unscrew this little tab right here. You see that yellow O-ring? You want to make sure that stays in there. You take water from your dock, your hose, hook it in here, okay? And while you're doing this, the engine is tilted up and it's off. Okay, engine's up and off while we're doing this. We turn the dock water on as it's screwed into here, and what that does is it flushes out all the salt water in the motor. Let that run for 5 to 10 minutes, and then after that you can shut the water off on the dock, unscrew the hose, put this hose back on this holder right here, and you're good to go. Thanks for watching our digital delivery on this 2022 Pursuit DC246. I'm Evan from Atlantic Outboard. Don't forget to check us out online at atlanticoutboard.com.